Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Pickleball's most coveted podcast. This is Inside Major League Pickleball, where we discuss all the scoops surrounding the hottest professional pickleball league in the game. Back this week with my friends and co-hosts, as always, former pro and Olympic volleyballer, future pro pickleballer, Casey Patterson, Father Nature, pickleball fashionista, four-time survivor contestant, and the man to beat in pickleball, Tyson Apostol. I took out our line. I couldn't do it this week.
That's okay.
I just decided to take it out until we come up with a better one. I'm Michelle
Better
McMahon.
than what I came up with?
Okay, he has a face for radio, he says.
No, a face for TV and a voice for radio.
A face. You said it the other way. Okay.
No.
Okay, fine. You're right. I just made it up. I'm sorry for the put down. And I am now getting kicked off the podcast. I'm Michelle McMahon.
For last week.
Former D1 volleyballer, current sports broadcaster, pickleball's feistiest ginger. Yeah, I said it. And this week, speaking of feisty, we are thrilled to be welcoming in an incredible athlete and business mind. She's a CEO. She's a former Division I tennis player at Pepperdine University, was #1 in doubles and singles, and was one of the youngest NCAA athletes in history. Started when she was 16 years old. She was also #5 in the world in pickleball and women's singles, 14 in doubles. She is now the CEO of DUPR, which stands for the Dynamic Universal Pickleball Rating, pickleball's most accurate global rating system. She is the incredible Jill Braverman. And before we welcome her in, we must give a quick shout out to our sponsors this week, starting with ProXR, the official paddle of MLP, the only paddle custom fit for your grip. From Knockaround, the official sunglasses of MLP, quality shades that won't break the bank. And Aura Organic, the official nutrition partner of MLP. Transform your health with plant-based nutrition from Aura. Franklin, last but not least, the official ball of MLP. The Franklin X40 delivers the best in-game flight out of any ball on the market.
Woo! Michelle, that was hot, hot, hot. 8 out of 10. Only because you wanted to say so bad that I have a face for radio and a voice for I don't even know where voice for TV still is not bad. That's fine.
Have I been reading it wrong every week and just
no? You've been reading it right every week. No, you've been reading it right. But I know that you don't truly believe that is accurate, so it's hard for you to say every week. So
I didn't feel it. Yeah, it didn't feel real.
Yeah, it didn't feel real. And so we're going to get you something real to say. I was also a former professional athlete, Michelle. I was a pro cyclist and a college swimmer. So
I'm going to add that to my list.
Yeah, you don't have to say that. It was a long time ago. And we are here with one of the bad girls of pickleball. That seems so long ago. Jill Braverman, how are you?
Hi, Michelle. Hi, Casey. Hi, Father Nature. Love that. Wow.
Thank you.
That's new.
I do a lot of nature stuff on my Instagram. So I find animals. And I just a couple years ago, I just would film animals. I'd try to get as close as I can to wildlife. And then I'd be like, hey, I'm Father Nature. And people ate it up because I figure if there's a Mother Nature, then there's probably a father.
Yeah.
And
right.
It got very well received. So I've kind of stuck with it.
That's a fair supposition. Well, Father Nature, thrilled to be here today. Thank you for having me on.
You're welcome. We're stoked to have you. And before we get into all things DUPR and why it is what every pickleballer needs, you have teased up that you may come out of retirement to play some more pickleball. I know you retired specifically to join DUPR as CEO, step away from the game and the competition aspect a little bit. Why are you coming back?
Is semi-retirement an oxymoron?
I don't think so. I think that's actually normal retirement now. I wouldn't be surprised if Casey ends up playing all next season volleyball. Lance Armstrong, I heard he's racing the Tour de France next year. It's all, that's standard. Tom Brady.
Tyson's going to be in the Olympics.
Yes, exactly. That's what retirement is to an athlete now. Talk us through that decision.
When I first joined DUPR, Steve Kuhn said, you don't have to retire. You don't have to stop playing. I want you to do anything that brings you joy. What an incredible man. Like, what a real human being. And he really, really means that. And I never wanted there to be a perceived conflict of interest running a rating system that is used now at the pro level in the pro game quite a bit. And we'll talk about minor league pickleball later and how DUPR's used in the Major League Pickleball draft. And then recently I've realized just how much I miss playing and I miss competing. And I saw that Althoff Merchant, this is his last pro event before he leaves us and goes into senior pro. And so how fitting that he's kind of my OG partner and I'm his, and I could see him into his, not version of retirement, but see him going into senior pro.
The twilight years.
Exactly. So it kind of all just came together. I have to be on the East Coast anyway, so we'll see how it goes. Just had a female pro ping me actually via text message and ask if I wanted to play pro women's doubles. So yeah, let's see. What
was your response to her?
I said, who is this question?
Oh, okay. That's the best. New phone.
New phone. Who dis?
Okay. It was Michelle.
Will you play with me, Jill?
Jill.
No, Jill's busy giving me lessons privately on the side.
And then today I saw there's split age at nationals, which I had totally forgotten about. I saw Anna Bright and Beth Bellamy are playing, and I'm like going to text Anna like, yo, I'm going to mess you up. I'm going to play with, I texted Susie LeBlanc this morning and I said, you want to play split age? So, just doing things that bring you joy, I think creates such a better, environment for you to work better, for you to have better interpersonal relationships. So I'm going for the joy.
So are we going to see more and more of you at these events, or is it like you don't know, or you're going to do this and then take a step back again? What are we going to see from Jill Braverman here, the pickleball player?
I have no idea. I'm hydrating the night before my matches, usually with a couple Corona Lights. I'm usually cramping about 3 hours into play. So who knows if I can even, at 33 years young, who knows if I can even physically sustain. Althoff asks me if I'm playing singles before our doubles. And I said no. And he said, thank God, because he knows after I play singles, I'm in an ice bath for 3 days.
Well, Jill, I'm not a scientist, but I think the number one ingredient in Corona is water.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. That's profound. That was profound. Seriously.
Yeah. So I think you're going to be fine. We're excited to see that and cheering you on. Any predictions?
Well, obviously, a W, the gold. No other.
Okay.
Easy.
I'm going to ignore all the DUPR predictions that probably put me as like DFL. I'll ignore those.
Yeah. You heard it here first. Is that wise of you as the CEO to prove your own algorithm wrong?
Upsets happen. It happens.
They do. That's why betting works, because upsets do happen. Let's get into it. DUPR. All things DUPR. And I want to start off with, firstly, as I'm reading through kind of DUPR, how it's important to recreational players and stuff, all I can think of is Strava.
Yeah.
Strava is what cyclists and runners use. You record your PRs, you show your distance, you show your pace, all of those things. And as I'm looking through this, it makes so much sense for a recreational player to utilize DUPR to their advantage. Can you expound on that more, Jill, and what you're doing to make DUPR important to the recreational player?
I think you nailed it. The Strava example I use actually all the time. Can you imagine getting off the golf course and saying, I had this great round, and someone says, what did you shoot? And you go, I don't know. Right?
Yeah.
Or can you imagine, you're a cyclist not knowing your time, and being a runner and not knowing how many miles you did. So we know that when a player, really in any sport, has a rating or a metric by which they can objectively track their performance and their improvement, it deepens their connection to the game. it makes them part of that global ecosystem, especially when it's on a universal rating like DUPR, where for the first time ever, we can see how someone compares in the UK to California or the States. So I think it's so almost metaphysical and existential, this notion of universal ratings that give players a really good first-time experience, puts them on the right court. I mean, can you imagine running a facility, a league, or a club, and on Saturday morning, 300 players show up, and every single person thinks they should be on the 4-0 and 4-5 court, right? So we have to make sure that there is an objective metric that DUPR is the bad guy, not the coach, not the director of pickleball, not the GM or the club owner. It's DUPR is the bad guy that's making sure everyone's where they belong and everyone's having a great first time experience. That's what we have to do. We have to keep delivering amazing recreational amateur experiences for the everyday player. And the last thing I would say on this topic is we had a woman by the name of Kimberly Crozier reach out to us on social and say, I made your amateur top movers list. Thank you. A lot of people don't know this about me, but I've been wheelchair bound or hospital bed bound for the past year. I had to have my femur cut in half and rotated 20 degrees. I had to relearn how to walk. Seeing my name on your amateur biggest mover list helped me conceptualize just how far I've come. And I would never have known that without DUPR. So ratings aren't the bad guy necessarily. I don't expect you every time you walk on a court to post your score. There's a time and a place for that. I think ratings are a special thing to help the sport.
That's such a key point. I feel like
go ahead, Michelle.
I feel like you're going to also, that's a touching story, first of all. And second of all, my parents have a home in Naples, side tangent, and the amount of drama that comes in this neighborhood because of who thinks they're a 4-0 and the 3-5 and who belongs on this team because no, they're 3-0. It becomes like a Mean Girls little like, I mean, not necessarily. For the most part, pickleball community is, but I think this objectivity is so key to keep the community together and to make DUPR the bad guy. I love that point by you, Jill. And for people that are new to DUPR, how does it work? Like, how would you explain? You don't have to get in the nuts and bolts of the algorithm, so to speak, but how does it work? How is it tangible for them? I know it's a free, everyone can do it. And how would you outline that?
Absolutely. That's a good question. Thank you, Michelle. It's completely free. You can download the app or go to mydupr.com. You can start posting scores instantly against other unrated players. So if you're unrated and you play a non-rated player, you would actually still have a rating, which is so cool. And you get to see that on a weekly basis, move up or move down. The algorithm measures an expectation of points won in a match, a percentage of points won. So what's neat about that is you can lose a match, but perform really well. And the algorithm recognizes that and your rating actually goes up. So that's very different than a ranking system, which traditionally just looks at this binary, did you win or did you lose? We're actually looking at did you win or did you lose with a winner bonus attached, but we're really looking at the EV, how many points did you win? And so I hope that's a simple explanation of how the algorithm works and how the rating works.
I think it's a perfect combination of motivation for all different levels if we want to play together. Because personally, I do DUPR games all the time, and we do like round robins, and it's almost taken the place of a currency. Like, hey, let's bet on lunch, because I'm like in volleyball, unless I was betting like for lunch and practice, it was hard for me to be super motivated because it was always like you get the young guys who are really excited to play you, and every point they're going to go home and tell mom and write in their journal and post it on Instagram, the one highlight they get. But it's like when you put DUPR involved, the guys that are supposed to win are highly motivated as well versus like, oh, okay, I'm going to play these guys. And, if they get, if they win or if they get a few points, like their ranking goes up like crazy. But I'm also protecting my ranking when I'm the guy that's ranked higher. So it's like there's ultimate motivation from both ends, which is so cool. Right. Like for me, I'm like, oh, okay, I got to play really hard because I don't want my score to drop, And so it really creates like a really cool dynamic with any level you're playing. Versus like, oh, I only need to play the top guys. It's like, no, you can play anybody, and there's motivation.
So I have a question for you, actually.
Yeah.
We get a lot of DUPR etiquette questions. So I've had people reach out to me personally and say, I confirmed beforehand that we were going to put in a score. but I won by a lot, and she's scared or he's scared and won't validate the score. So post it, like, I'm writing into your support team. I promise I had validation here. I want this score posted. And so I've been thinking about like an invalidation, kind of the inverse, where if your opponent doesn't validate it, it posts automatically. Yeah. Everyone hated the idea. Then I said, okay, let's do like a golf scorecard method. So you get off the court and your phone becomes like when you sign for a digital signature, you're buying your coffee. And if you just get your opponent's signature, one of them, if it's doubles, it'll automatically post. So my question for you is twofold. Twofold question, Casey. One, what is the etiquette that you use before entering a DUPR match? And two, do you have any suggestions for an improvement to this process? Because apparently nobody liked my suggestions for optimizations.
The most awkward part is that's probably me that was emailing in requesting that. I'm just like, look, my 11-year-old said he wanted to play one-on-one. He never said DUPR was on the line. He beat me 11-4 because I felt bad for him that day. And now he's emailing in requiring me to validate it. No, I think what we always do is before we play, we always say, hey, everyone has to have an account and a profile before they can even play like a round robin. Or if we're playing games and we say, look, we're doing DUPR games tomorrow. Everyone already knows. So we always make sure we kind of validate that with everybody before we show up. And then at post, it's always kind of like this like honor bro system where everybody leaves and then you hope that they get to it. And sometimes it's 3 days down the road. You're like, bro, post this. I get a tournament coming up and I need my ranking to like level up because I want to go play a higher level. Right. So I would agree with you that there's got to be almost some sort of like,
I know the
if
way.
I agree, I have to sign before we play the round robin and then it's already predetermined, right? It approves
you go
before.
on before you start the game and all four thumbs up that this is going to DUPR, that the next score with that group is going to DUPR no matter what. So they have approved it before the game is played. Yes.
I like
and
it.
Then,
go to the
then
court.
The secondary approval would be the score, like maybe because then there's an issue like, dude, you entered the score wrong.
Oh.
Or how does that, like that's the caveat,
Maybe
right? That gets messed up.
One representative from each team has to thumbs up the score. If they don't thumbs up it or put a correction in an amount of time, then it just
stays.
goes up as the score because
There's
you've already
incentive.
done the initial thumbs up.
Yeah.
Then the only incentive to correct the score is if it's wrong. I mean, somebody could lie about it and be like, oh, no, you typed in the wrong score. It was actually 12-10. We almost got, like, I don't know. At that point, then you're just dealing with people who lie, I guess. But I think approval before the game starts is how you avoid that aftermath a little bit.
The physical photo, we always have like we have a clipboard, and so we'll fill it out and take a photo to send everybody. I feel like there should be. I think that is helpful too, right? There's like a photo upload of that day, and it's like everyone can go back and see the physical copy.
I like it. I like that a lot. One thing you might like that we're working on right now, Casey, actually about to release, is really for DUPR to function like a handicap system, just like in golf. So that you would go in with your partner, you put his or her name in, your opponent's names in, and you would receive the spread, the line, how many points you need to win or lose to affect and impact your DUPR. Now you get to really have some fun.
That's another layer of anxiety for people that get stressed out about it. They're like, oh my gosh,
I got to get 6 points.
It's 9-4. I got to get 2 more points. We have to get 2 more points. We have to time out. It's so good. I love it. It makes it feel more like a tournament, even more. Because at some point, it's going to become point ratio. Like you guys already have the DUPR system, but then also like we've gone through so many different like pool play, modified pool, playoffs, and it went from wins and losses to then it was like point ratio. So even if you lost but you scored points, you would like beat a team that had beat you head to head, and you're like, wait a minute, like what are you talking about? And because all of the algorithms and the way that they would incorporate and change qualifying for playoffs or for any sort of tournament, I think that's huge. To have that information would be so rad.
Well, and that would become the betting lines essentially, right? The over-unders.
Right.
And
that's huge.
So people talk a lot about, I've actually had gambling houses say this to me, DUPR is the gateway to gambling. How else are they able to come up with any type of quantitative methodology to determine these spreads? So that is DUPR. And if you look at, too, the competitive playing market, so to speak. Every week I hear a different number, 4.8 million players, 8 million players. I heard 11 million yesterday. So let's say there's 8 million total players playing pickleball right now. Only 200,000 have ever played a tournament. So we've got to find a way to engage the other 7.8 million players and bring them into the ecosystem in some capacity, organized leagues, organized tournaments, a bridge to the recreational player, like the DUPR Jamboree that we've created. That's more of a music festival. But the rating is what can connect these players together and build that bridge. And I think that's so important to do, because 8 million disconnected players at a public park, that's not really helping the industry, to be honest. Maybe it's helping ball sales and paddle sales.
Yeah, that's so true. And Jill, you're clearly so passionate about not only DUPR, but the sport itself. And I like to know the backstory of everyone's journey to how they found pickleball and how you got connected to DUPR. So obviously you're a high achieving person. You're a CEO at 33 years old. You started playing college tennis at 16. You exceeded expectations there, then went pro pickleball and exceeded expectations there. What is your personal journey to pickleball, and why are you so passionate about this ecosystem and bringing more people to the game and making it more accessible to all?
Pickleball saved my life. Pickleball saved my mom's life. Pickleball is life, right? It's
agreed.
I was on a call with someone who's a big player in the industry the other day, and they said, "Look, I'm not a zealot, okay? I'm not a pickleball zealot." And I said back, "I am. We are. My team is." So Steve and I, Steve Kuhn, the founder of DUPR Major League Pickleball, we're going to have shirts printed that say MLP DUPR, we are zealots. So,
do it. The Church of Pickleball.
I believe in the healing power of the game. From someone who grew up in the hyper exclusive world of tennis that was so dog eat dog. The thought of walking onto a public tennis court and saying, "Can I have up next? Can I join this?" I mean, you'd get hit in the face, right? You get laughed off the court. So pickleball to me is a religious experience, almost this inclusive atmosphere, this unbelievable dichotomy of equally easy to learn and difficult to master. It's everything the consumer wants. It's the best of every sport I've ever played. And so, yes, I feel a religious verve to want to spread this and do it the right way. And a rating is critical to that.
Well, and I think also going back to the Strava comparison, DUPR means you're competing against yourself, which is what a lot of these players are probably striving for, is self-improvement. Doesn't matter if they're going and winning a gold medal at a tournament. They just want to see themselves getting better. And there's no way to monitor that outside of DUPR.
No, exactly.
It's true. So, I could say that in the world of beach volleyball, very similar to pickleball, a very social lifestyle sport that everybody loves to go. Like, everybody wants to go to the beach, and that's where everyone's vacationing / hanging out on the weekends. And it's like pickleball has that same exact vibe. It's the community, it's the lifestyle, it's the environment, it's the experience over sometimes even playing. And we are lost within we're supposed to be like the number 2 or 3 sport in the world with participants. And there is zero proof that even really exists, because there's no universal system, and there's never been. And so it's like, oh no, this is my Pro Tour US point system, and then there's the World Tour system, then there's the Euro Continental Cup type thing, then there's the CEV, and you're like, what's happening? Where are we? There's no connectivity, so there's no bridge that gaps the millions and millions of people that play. And this in our sport would be like a lifesaver. In volleyball and a lot of other sports, it would be a lifesaver. So this is such a rad thing to have in pickleball, because it's going to connect everyone.
Well, Casey, you just nailed it. It is a total blank slate in pickleball right now for creating the actual infrastructure of programming. So we have a whole B2B side of our business. And the largest multi-clubs in the world come to us and they say, we're building courts. What do we do now? What do we put on? What's the programming? And the USTA, so the United States Tennis Association, has done an incredible job of building an infrastructure of pathways for the everyday tennis player. So USTA leagues with over 1 million adult participants in the US, they do a great job of creating the local qualifying structure to the sectional, to the regional, to the national championship. That is exactly actually what we are doing at DUPR. And people are kind of waking up to that atop the rating system, we have built tools and technologies on the B2B side and the B2C side that are enabling and building atop the whiteboard this total infrastructure of play. So amateur team leagues right now are coming out for the first time ever, DUPR amateur team leagues, MLP style, powered by ML Play, with a huge national championship at the end of next year that we're about to announce. So that's a sneak peek for you. But Casey, you nailed it, right? It's just this whiteboard waiting to be painted upon.
That's massive. Maybe you shouldn't go pro. We team up. We go beat the amateur. We win the national championship. Then you go back to playing pro. Okay, good plan.
Everybody's in agreement?
Everybody's in agreement? Perfect.
Sign the dotted line. Okay.
Yeah.
dive a little bit deeper. Oh, sorry, Tyson. I keep
No, I want you to talk.
Thank you. I just wanted to dive in. If there's anything left, I know you guys are constantly pushing boundaries with DUPR. You're constantly dreaming big. And that's what I love about Major League Pickleball across the board, whether it's DUPR, whether it's the tournament format, the money involved, it's just everywhere. So what other future endeavors do you guys have in store that we could be looking out for with DUPR?
Absolutely. So I already gave you a little bit of a sneak peek into the amateur team leagues. We're also running DUPR Waterfall tournaments, which is a self-run event where, imagine this, guys, you play a pickleball tournament and you're guaranteed 4 matches in a 4-hour period. You're assigned to a pod of courts, like courts 1 through 4. So you know exactly where you're playing. You're not running across one side of a facility to another. These double elimination events that have become the status quo of the industry are murdering the player's desire to continue playing, at least in tournaments. Again, our founder, Steve Kuhn, hasn't played in a tournament for 2 years, not for lack of desire, but frankly, for the lack of positive joy and experience that emanates from these double elimination events. I mean, they're 30% less optimized when you compare them in terms of court usage versus something like a waterfall with a pod of courts. So we're working so hard every day at DUPR to just improve the amateur players' experience. And the waterfall is one of those examples that we're scaling over to 300 tournaments in 2023. In addition to that, Casey, you'll be happy to hear, minor league pickleball, which is maybe what you and I should
Triple
be
A,
playing.
let's go.
Triple A, let's go. So actually, it's this week we've sold out DUPR 20 and a DUPR 22. Those are the 2 brackets inside the minor league pickleball Battle of Dreamland event. And what that means is you take the 4 players competing on the team, you add up their DUPRs. If they're under 20 or equal to 20, you're in the 20 event. And if it's same with the 22, under or equal to the 22, you're playing the 22 event. And how cool is that to finally have this bridge and this path to Major League Pickleball and this opportunity for up and coming pros to show themselves and establish themselves? I'm obsessed with it. I think we need to go out and sell minor league pickleball teams. I'm pitching Steve every day on this concept.
Yes, for sure. 100%. I can tell you, going back to how you even started this conversation with the tournament experience and how the double elimination kind of ruins the fun and the love for it. I would say majority of the guys that are really grinding and trying to play a lot in our area that all come to that same level, we don't even go to tournaments anymore. We just go, why would we do that? Let's just stay here. Let's find 8 people. We'll run a DUPR tournament. That's all we're doing. We're just doing, and we formed a club and everything. Everyone's in the club. They're all logged in with DUPR, and then we just stay close so that we can, it's a 3-hour clip and we're back home. It's amazing.
Then you can have prize money too in tournaments. If you're doing the brackets by DUPR, you can actually have prize money. Otherwise, it's a sandbagger's dream.
Right.
I vacillate on the whole sandbagging discussion because do you hate the player or do you hate the game? If you're allowed to go into a software and enter for a bracket that's literally 1.0 below your DUPR, is it your fault or is it the game? Is it the software's fault? So we have to start bracketing tournaments within 0.25. So that's the other critical error in the way tournaments are run is the bracketing's by 0.5. That's a world of a difference in DUPR,
Huge.
guys. So if you're a 3.00 DUPR playing against a 3.50 DUPR, you are not in the right bracket.
Right.
You're not going to have a level-based match.
Yeah. Wow. AAA too. Oh my gosh, that's going to be insane. That's so fun.
With cycling and amateur cycling as my background, what we would do with sandbaggers is we would just all publicly shame them until they moved up a category.
Smart.
And I noticed that public shaming isn't really like what you do on the pickleball court, but literally you would have an entire bracket of a certain skill level shaming the guy who won the mountain bike race by 30 minutes until he bumped up.
Not in, like the second leg, you don't just all run them off the road. I thought that's what you get. Oh,
they disappear. They're out. They're way in front of everybody.
Oh, you can't catch them.
Yeah, you can't catch them. So you're just like, okay, well, everybody just shame this guy till he moves up. Call him a sandbagger at the award ceremony and everything.
Yeah.
And so I like this. Like, I love it. Like when you're saying tournaments are broken, that's been my exact experience. Is I was like, I don't want to play down so I can get my games in and get my money's worth. I'm a competitive person. I prefer to play someone better than me, honestly, or at least like my level. So I'm going to play there. But then you have somebody who's like, oh, I played pro yesterday and then I played 5-0 the day before, and I just want to get as many games because I'm traveling for the weekend. So I'm also playing in the 4-5s and the 4s, and then I'm getting 300 games in on the weekend.
It's wild. You know, you asked a little bit about what we have coming up, Michelle, too. What's exciting is the PPA actually has started using DUPR even in their pro events. So the championship in Vegas, for instance, DUPR wasn't just used for amateur seedings, but for the pro men's singles bracket, where they had over 75 entrants. So they had to figure out who was going to play in, who was going to get slotted into the main draw, and who was getting seeded in the play-in. So that's one way DUPR was recently used. And then the Collegiate National Championship. We have that in less than 3 weeks coming up. We have over 40 schools represented, over 300 participants. And how cool, how much fun to see these dual head-to-head college versus college matches. And these kids can play too. We saw that at the exhibition during Major League Pickleball in Columbus. So I think the more we can focus on helping connect these disparate groups in the ecosystem together and on a pathway, then someone has a customer journey. They're playing in, junior DUPR programming event at their local club. Then they're playing in college, trying to compete for the national championship, then minor league pickleball, then major league pickleball. We have to help the customer journey. We have to have it make sense and have a clear path for someone who's just getting started to see, hey, this is how I get to the pros. Yeah,
that's so true, because in most sports, unless they're very structured out, it goes straight. It's crazy how much it goes back to beach volleyball. There's like there isn't anything. It's like, oh, you get your AAA and like a CBVA, which is a local California event. That used to be like the highest tier before you went and tried to go pro. And, it was like, cool. Oh, some kids got it when they were like 14 or whatever. And I didn't get it till I was like 25. But it's like you were just floating around in like the ocean on a raft with no like paddle. And you're like, where do I go here? I have no idea what to do. And I don't know who's near me that plays that's going to help me get to where I need to go. It was you just had to be the guy that lasted longer and figured it out. Where this is like, I immediately know I have options. I've got, a staircase to climb. Perfect.
Yeah.
And what's with the collegiate national championships?
Sorry, Tyson.
With the collegiate national championships, that's okay. I love it. We're just
Should I talk to him? I'm just kidding.
Yes, everybody talk.
Everyone
with
talk
collegiate national championships, talk. We're talking. Is it going to be run like Major League Pickleball? Is it a team format?
Yes, it is. And it was really cool. And I'm happy I stuck to my guns on this, because when we first launched it, announced it 6 months ago, a lot of the feedback from the teams was, hey, just do this gendered, like have a male team and a female team. We don't have enough women in our program to field a team. And I remember I was having a conversation with my guy who runs our flex leagues in our college. And I said, no way. This is their motivation to go out and recruit women and get the programming even more going
Yeah.
at their local college and at their local facility. And that's what they went out and did. So now we have these, new women, new entrants into the sport. So the teams are, to answer your question, yes, 2 men, 2 women. However, we have added a line of singles, a dedicated line of singles. They really wanted that. And I think that's really cool to have singles represented. And it could be a male playing it or a female. You get to pick one singles player to represent your team.
Oh, that's cool.
I love
Now,
that.
if I audit a class, am I eligible to play?
What are some ways?
I want to
they
go
could-
down the street to Pepperdine. Ugh, it'd be perfect.
But we legitimately have graduate students, and that was a big question we got asked. Was like, "Hey, I'm getting my master's. Can I play?" We're like, "Absolutely, yeah, join your team."
That's
cool.
rad.
I
What
only
is
have
the
a
day?
year of collegiate sports, so
Yeah.
I could go back to school and
got
get
4
my
left.
3 years,
You just
4
used your
years of
red shirt.
eligibility.
Yeah.
That's true.
And how cool would it be, guys? And imagine pickleball as an NCAA sport, one of the first co-ed sports.
Yeah.
Co-ed. I mean, that would be
So true.
That's
so
huge.
poetic. So poetic, so on brand with everything pickleball stands for. It's a co-ed sport.
Yeah.
I love that. What's the day in the life of a DUPR CEO look like?
Oh, this is so funny. Whenever someone reaches out to me and says, "Can I have a job? I want to work for DUPR." I go, "Why would you like to work for DUPR?" I go, "Well, I just love pickleball." And I go, "Okay, let me get this straight. You want to turn a hobby into a requirement. You want to turn your hobby into a responsibility. Is that what you want to do?"
Yeah. Seriously.
So to answer your question, there's very little playing of pickleball that happens at CEO of DUPR, or working in pickleball does not equate to playing pickleball, unfortunately. But a lot of 14-hour days for me and the whole team. We're so mission driven with this. All of us. I've built this team. We're over 40 employees, and we love what we do. So to answer your question, it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
We've got collegiate national championships. We've got the Pickle Bowl this weekend. We've got minor league pickleball happening. We've got flex leagues. Those are all sold out right now. And you've got team leagues, Major League Pickleball style for amateurs. Where can someone go and find all of this information, how to get involved?
Thank you for asking that. You can go to mydupr.com or download the app. On your dashboard, you'll see an option to click on events. You can see all the events happening near you. If your local club, league, or association is not already using DUPR, they can hit us up at support@mydupr.com or go to our website and fill out the inbound form, and we would love to chat with them and help bring them into the family.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm going to do that right now, making a note. I've avoided getting on DUPR because I don't want people to know how good or bad I am at the game.
You're vulnerable now. Now you're vulnerable.
Now people are going to see. But instead of them coming to a tournament like what used to happen to me, I'd go to a tournament, somebody that watched Survivor would come up, watch me for a couple points, then get on Pickleball Forum and be like, "Tyson from Survivor sucks at pickleball, everybody. He was playing 4-0 and getting demolished. He's not a 4-0. He totally sucks." And I'm like, that's cool. That's cool of that guy to do. So now I can do it to myself.
Yes. Yeah. That's what you got to attack
Be
it first.
ahead. Yeah,
Exactly.
be ahead of the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
Well, Tyson, if the one end result of this podcast was you getting on DUPR, I'm just going to call that a huge success. Just
Huge
make sure
win.
it says Father Nature for first.
Okay.
And don't
I'm going
verify
to.
him. Just verify me and Michelle first, and then let him kind of wait in limbo for a little bit.
Hold. There's a verification on
No,
DUPR.
but there should be, and if there is, we should make you wait a little bit.
Don't make me wait. I need that blue check.
Jill said she was going to sending her a highlight clip of me just like hitting an overhead crossbody like on the 2-foot line over the fence during pickleball. And so I'm going to be the only one with like a highlight reel playing in the background of my profile. I'm just kidding.
I like that. You're going to be the first video
Yeah, like
video
NFT
profile.
world. Yeah,
Oh,
exactly.
dude. We're in the NFT game now, too.
That's awesome.
Where's DUPR going from here? What are the next things that DUPR is going to put into place to make the game even more accessible to all the amateurs?
Gosh, where is DUPR going from here? It's funny. Steve and I were just chatting about this the other day. It's like minutes past like years in pickleball. It's hard to even do a 1-year forecast when the industry and the sport is like kind of sculpting fog is what it feels like on a daily basis. If you would have asked any of us 6 months ago, a year ago, heck, even maybe 90 days ago, what our priorities were, they would have looked totally different than what they exist as of right now in real time. That's how quickly the sport is changing and growing, and how agile we need to be as a technology provider and a business to listen to the needs of that continuously evolving community. So I think the biggest thing on our roadmap and our North Star is just providing more visibility into the ratings. So what we said about providing the points line and the spread, making that publicly available in app. We spent the past couple months working really hard to just be more transparent. So if you go to your app right now, you'll see your performance chart is in there. So you can see all the matches that go into your DUPR and how they affected your DUPR. So you can see your best wins, your best performances, your worst performances, your best partners, whom you play the best with, right? Like how fun is that? And that's all visible totally for free right now. So I think our North Star is, how do we just keep making everything? Yeah, the performance chart.
Okay, I'm diving
What's your
in.
worst, Casey? What's your worst? Confession
Right.
time.
It's weird. I don't have any losses, so there's really no worst. I don't know. It's weird.
He's breaking DUPR.
Casey, you're gonna love it.
Yeah.
Casey, you're gonna love it.
I'm like Neo in the Matrix. You can't get me.
We are actually working on having the rating update instantly. So I'd say
That's so cool.
Gamification, right? You want people to have that instant gratification of seeing the change in their rating. So Tyson, I think those are our kind of North Stars, more transparency, having the rating update instantly, and then everything else, ask me tomorrow.
You're going to be on with us again tomorrow?
Oh, fun. Yes, let's go.
Okay. Jill, I want to thank you so much for joining us. It's been super enlightening. I want to encourage all of our listeners, everybody out there, to share the good word of DUPR with your group, with everybody at the courts. And it's truly the way that you can see improvement. You can look back on a year ago today and see where you were versus where you are now. And that's actually some really awesome stuff. Jill, where can anybody find you or anything you've got coming up? How can we see how you're going to perform coming out of retirement? Are you posting highlight clips to your Instagram? What's going on?
So excited.
Where are we going to see this?
Yes.
Oh my gosh, I'm like still learning how to use Instagram. No, I'm actually a pretty private person. Yeah, I guess you'll have to catch me on the Inside MLP podcast next time I'm invited on if you want a personal update.
We do. Are you on DUPR? Can we follow people on DUPR too? Is that something?
Not yet. And I didn't mean to drop this bomb on you right now. I know we're wrapping things up, but
No, let's hear it.
D2. We're getting a lot of requests for DUPR dating.
Oh,
Really?
Oh my gosh.
That is
Then DUPR dating
hilarious.
after
See how
dark.
compatible
whole
we are
TV
based
show.
on our
this is amazing.
favorite shots.
Survivor DUPR.
No, but this is way better than Bumble and Hinge. Let's be honest. Because pickleball is
And we're having so in all seriousness, we're having dating events being scheduled on our app right now, like a New York City meet and greet dating event. Register DUPR, and people love pickleball for speed dating is like the best thing ever because right, you play like a game with someone, you rotate partners, and so it's like a more relaxed version of speed dating. You get a workout into, you serve some drinks, so.
That's genius.
I think it could be
Genius.
I think it could be a thing.
This is amazing. You can learn a lot about somebody just on the way that they react to winning or losing, especially guys losing to women. I have found out a lot about past partners in this situation.
Yes.
So I think it's amazing. I'm here for it. If you need a representative of the D2, you let me know. I'll be the host of such events.
I love it. I also I'm interested now to see the correlation between who are your best partners and how they match up on your dating scale as well. Like, okay,
we're worse partners, but we got married. So it's not really that great. We're always fighting on the court.
Communication, compatibility, not great, but you play pickleball well together. So
yes,
in theory, your marriage will be all right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So good.
This is so
love
good.
it.
I really agree.
Exciting.
I'm looking forward to that. I really am. I'm excited to see the data there. Casey, thank you so much. Michelle, always a pleasure. I want to thank everyone for tuning in. And everybody, get on DUPR. Let's have a big party there.
Let's go.
I really am. As soon as this call ends, I'm downloading it right now, and I will claim my name. I know it's on there already because you've told me this in person before, Jill, to get on there and claim my name before an imposter does. Which now I have to because I just said it to the world.
Oh my gosh! I'm logging in.
You're getting
only 10,000. You can have it.
You can be sure to follow Major League Pickleball on all social media outlets to see what they're up to. You can watch this whole video on YouTube if you prefer watching our faces talk to listening to us talk. And until next week, thanks again, everyone. See ya. And a heads up for anybody who may have missed the live broadcast of the finals of Major League Pickleball Columbus on CBS Sports last week. You can now rewatch all the action on Major League Pickleball's YouTube page.